Yeah.
Bismillah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We begin in the name of Allah, most beneficial, most merciful. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil mursaleen. Sayyidina wa habibina wa maulana Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rabbana taqabbal minna innaka anta samiul alim wa tub alaina ya maulana innaka anta tawwabur rahim. ببركة سورة الفاتحة بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين كان الله إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما سبحان ربنا رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين صدق الله العظيم.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. My name is Fayrooz Daniels. I'm the eldest daughter of 8 children. I was born in Lansdowne by my grandfather, 7 Belgravia Avenue. We grew up in garage. My mom is Rashida and my dad was the late Fuad Daniels. Yes, I'm the eldest of 8, which is myself, Fayrooz, Nadima, Ridawan, Sali, Rahmat, my late sister Fatima, Al-Raham, Shamla, and my baby sisters Khadija. My dad passed away at the age of 60. He had lung cancer first, and then he was okay for 2 years, and then they found a tumor on his brain. They gave him 6 months, but we had him for 2 years, alhamdulillah. My mom, which is here with me today, she's 81. Alhamdulillah, very strong woman, very feisty woman. Sy het ons baie hard laat werk, baie wasgoed gewas. Being the eldest of 8 children, I had to be very big at a very young age. Within 10 years, my mom had 8 children. So you can imagine my liewe. Maar ek het die swaarste gekry onder die 8. But alhamdulillah, I wouldn't change it for anything. It made me who I am today. And I'm grateful for all her experiences that she gave me. And I got married very young. I was 17. And then at the age of 21, I was divorced again with 2 children. So back to mommy and daddy's house. And after 8 years, I met Raeez's dad, which I knew. I knew him back in the days when we were very young. I was actually working in Joburg when my grandmother, Mama Rahmat, passed away, and my boss flew me up for the janaza. In that manner, I met up with Ghaalieb again. So I worked for a very good company, alhamdulillah, in Braamfontein that time. I was 28, and we got married. I had to fly back to Joburg, and we had a beautiful wedding, and we still, my uncle en nog 'n bruidskamer by hom gehad in 9th Avenue. Shortly after the wedding, Ghaalieb, unfortunately, do I have to say all these things? Eventually, I was like away from him and then with him and away from him and with him, and that sort of broke the marriage. We were married almost 2 years, and I fell pregnant with my first daughter, Anika. We were staying by my grandparents. Toe het ek gaan van Anika. Anika was actually born there in dieselfde garage wat ons groot geword het. My oupa weer mooi gemaak. Obviously, dinge nie weer uitgewerk nie, dan move ek maar weer na my pa toe met 1 kind. Raeez wasn't planned. For me, when the doctor told me I'm pregnant, to say I moet nie nonsense praat nie, because I was on the 2 months injection. Anika was 11 months old, so it was impossible. For 6 months, I was in denial. I couldn't accept that I was pregnant. There was no another baby in the picture at all. Lucky I was working as well. Yeah, I had a good job in Adley Street. So I had a job and Anika, my mom took care of Anika and everything was going well. And ook that time in Ghaalieb was uit mekaar. Toe ek weer in my pa se huis. So where Raeez fits in, only Allah knows. But the pregnancy, they never picked up anything. It was a normal pregnancy. Die mag het gegroei. I had no different of my other pregnancies that I had. Nothing. Normal, normal, normal. The minute I gave birth to Raeez, they immediately told me, your son is not normal. That's the first thing they told me. My afterbirth was since 82 CLL for my kinders normally. And I said, no, it can't be. There's no way. Because, there was no indication that my child was abnormal or anything like that. And he wasn't breathing. Raeez wasn't breathing, and they were struggling with him on that side. We were at Vincent Pallotti. Luckily, alhamdulillah, hy was die kwaaiste baby. Hy was gebore in Vincent Pallotti. So, because his dad was working at Printpack that time, so we were on medical aid. And in actual fact, they had to sedate me because I was totally hysterical. I said to them, there's no way my child can be abnormal, and the fact that he wasn't breathing. I phoned my brother that's here today, Sally. And I phoned my brother and I said to my brother, hulle sê my kinders is normally. And he came to hospital, him and his wife today, Amina. And they were looking through him through the mirror, through the window glass, and Sally still said to me, "Mal, hulle is mal, man, ek kan lyk net soos Anika." That was his exact words. Hulle is mal.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm Muhammad Sali Daniels. I'm Raeez's uncle. I asked her, Faye, what is wrong? What is the problem? And she was crying and saying that they've diagnosed Raeez as Down syndrome. And my first response was, don't worry, he'll be okay. Hy's in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's hand, and you don't have to worry. Everything is going to work out as Allah has planned it for you and for your child. She asked me to come to the hospital. At that time, it was Vincent Pallotti. I gave her my support and I said to her, just hang in there, be strong. It was a tough journey. We were very emotional at the time. But alhamdulillah, we got through it. I couldn't be at the hospital all the time because I wasn't allowed to be there. But my du'as and my support was always with her and Raeez. It's been such a long time, and Raeez has grown to be an adult when he was told that he only had a limited time to live. And yeah, Allah works in mysterious ways. I tried to be there for her as much as I could. And Raeez grew up. We all knew his condition, but we supported him like a normal child. We didn't make a fuss about him being a Down syndrome or anything like that. We treated him like I treat my children. We treated him the same way. Raeez came to spend a lot of time by me. He slept by me. He engaged with my family. My family learned to love him. Whenever there was a function, they would have it at my place. So yeah, ek was soos I say, die entertainer, die karaoke guy. We liked braaiing, and Raeez would always come and, Uncle Sali, I want to help you. Put the music on, put the karaoke on, and you know, he always wanted to be entertained and stuff like that, and do the dancing.
They talk about SmackDown, to access and do stronger and everything. And I watch every day to SmackDown, and on TV we watch something movie about my new self one Daniels. There's my uncle, my other son, my auntie's son, and we do about in Pasco. He was there. Something else, last 4 years ago, he was there. and DJ from the extra to from DJ. And also DJ from last year, from the 2020, 2025.
It was very emotional at that time because it's not something I would like any parent to go through. And at that time, daar was ek Google nie en wat jy kan gaan Google Down syndrome nie en almal teen nie. So I felt very alone. It was hard to not have anybody to speak to at that time. And at Vincent Pallotti, you obviously know they have this Catholic church there, and one of the nurses came to sit with me and she held my hand, and obviously I just couldn't stop crying. She held my hand and she said to me, "Do you know what? God chose you. God chose you to have this special angel." And I still said to her, "You know what? God chose the wrong person." This was my exact words. Mag Allah my vergewe vir wat ek gesê het. En ek sê vir haar, you know, God chose the wrong person because right now I have so much on my platter. So it was a lot for me at that time. But she spoke to me with so much compassion, and finally I heard what she was saying, but still the tears flowed and flowed. And the fact that they told me that Raeez is not going to make it, they gave him 7 days. 7 days. If he not in that time, he doesn't breathe on his own. Doctor had no hope for him. So on the 7th day, Dr. Jadakin, the doctors phoned me from Vincent Pallotti because they discharged me, but obviously he stayed. And my brother and myself used to go. Ek kan nog nie gery het uit die. So my broer het my altyd vir my geneem Vincent Pallotti toe my late father. But I couldn't hold him because he was on a breathing machine and a feeding pipe and paper and almal daai dinge. And then on the 7th day, the doctor told me that I needed, hy ken van die Islamic view, dat die kind moet naam kry en bang in sy ore, wat hulle sê mos, you know, you must bring the priest and you must normally pray in his ears. I eventually went to my uncle that stayed next to us in Salt River, my daddy's baby brother, Uncle Adley, om te gaan bang in Raeez se ore en sy naam gee. And so my uncle then eventually got connected with Sheikh Mujahid, which was the Imam of Salt River at that time. En hy het obviously in sy ore gebang en wat even toe as hy gemaak het in sy ore, and obviously I don't know how, but his name became Muhammad Raeez. It was just a name that popped up, and in actual fact, the nurses there was amazing. The doctors as well at Vincent Pallotti, they were just amazing. Even the Catholic sisters that used to sit with me and hold me and comfort me and all that. Then the next morning, I came to hospital with my normal, like 8 o'clock, I'm at hospital. And as I walked in, the doctor was like smiling and like said to me, "Why didn't you bring the priest? Long time." Raeez was off the pipes. Raeez was drinking bottle. And that was just the start of my journey with him. It was very hard not having ever experienced having an abnormal child. But I took a lot of advice from Dr. Jadakin. Dr. Jadakin was his pediatrician. Amazing doctor. He was an amazing doctor. Raeez obviously left hospital with a chest problem. He would stop breathing in the middle of the night. And my late dad used to drive from wherever we were living, dan rush my pa from hospital to, and he used to go on a drip and the breathing machine. That went on for about 2 years. But for 2 years was hy in and out in hospital, in and out with chest problems. And at that time, Raeez got a lot of love. After everybody learned that he's Down syndrome, my family, my brothers, my sisters, my dad, my mom, my uncle was my best support. And eventually I had to tell my parents that my son is abnormal. Hy het nie vir my te hospitaal gekom nie, hy het nog gebly, hy still kept him there for about a week or another 2 weeks. Before Raeez came home, I had to sit with my parents, and my uncle next door sat with me, to support me. Unfortunately, I didn't have such a great relation with my mom. I don't know why, but it was a favorite. And then obviously my brother, Sheikh Mujahid, came as well. And then we broke the news to my parents that Raeez is not normal, he's abnormal, he's Down syndrome. It was it was a very, 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 it was very hard for me. Very. Like I said, having so much on my platter at that moment, it was just too much for me, to handle. But eventually, I decided, this is it, man. It's make it or break it. So I went to the library. I got library books on Down syndromes. I took all Dr. Judaiken's advice about raising him. First thing he said to me, don't spoil him. Don't make a fuss of him. Treat him like you treat your other children. And that is the three things I left the hospital with. And that is the three things I raised him with. There was no spoiling. There was no making more of him than my other children. He was disciplined exactly as my other children. Everybody loved him. Obviously that he got a lot of love. Alhamdulillah. Nobody made him feel any different. He was my brothers, my sisters, my nephews, my nieces. They all treated him as one of the same. There was no difference. They did love him more, but they didn't make him feel any different. My pa was ecstatically for Raeez. And that is where the love for klopse come in. Die nachtroepen, because my father used to lay with him and play the videos of the nachtroepen en die klopse en alhamdulillah, ek het baie support gekry van my familie. En I shukr Allah for that, for my family. I walked Raeez's road with Red Cross. I had to go to developmental clinics. He got all that. It was a easy roadie because tyd kan ek nie gery het nie en my pa was altyd available. My brother wasn't always, and none of them could drive basically. So it was bus and train and daar was die taxis tyd toe. But alhamdulillah, I lived in Salt River, so it was easy. They always used to use Raeez as an example for the other parents because their children wasn't so advanced as Raeez was. And they used to ask me how come and if I could give the parents advice on. And then that's exactly what I said. Hy was hier vas van gemaak. Hy sê, as hy 'n pak kry, kry hy 'n pak. En as hy moet gaan slaap, dan moet hy gaan slaap. Sy etenstyd was eaten. He didn't control me. He wasn't in control of me, I was in control of him. So he could basically do much more things than the children his own age. He could do things like what Muhammad miskien nie kan doen nie. But hulle is in dieselfde age group because the developmental clinic had age groups where we used to come certain days for certain ages. So they always used to use Raeez's example there even.
I remember quite well when my mom wanted to go for Hajj, or when she planned on going for Hajj. The one day we went to greet all the Karamats. It was on this one occasion that Raeez saw all the animals at the Karamats and so on, and he kind of saw this little chicken there, and this chicken amused him so much, and we kind of started joking about the chicken and what sounds the chicken make. And I would say the chicken make pok, 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 pok. And he would say pok, 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 pucha. And this kind of just grew, and this was our kind of little funny thing that we used to do, and we would laugh about this chicken all the time. The moment he would come to my place, he would say, Uncle Sali, music, put the music on, he wants to dance, he wants to sing. That was our relationship. Up until today, still, he will come and say, Uncle Sali, I want to put on the music. My son Sulaiman would let him play on the PlayStation, and then from PlayStation he went to Xbox.
And then eventually, he was ready for school. I was just in love with Balporto. Balporto just felt right for me. So at the age of 3, he started school. Bus picked him up in the morning, 7 o'clock. His driver was Mr. Purchase. En kyk, ons het baie gemove. Ek het baie gemove want enige 10 dat hulle my uitgesluit het sou trafie want ons te veel kinders en jy weet die ander siblings was nog almal in die huis en so it was hard. And obviously then I couldn't work anymore. I actually left my job at Woolworths and then I started temping for Quest. My mom used to watch Raeez. But obviously, Raeez got a grant, so diabetes, and then my dad always used to come. Jy moet weet, 2 kinders op bottles. Annika was op 'n bottle, Raeez was op 'n bottle. Annika was 11 months old when he was born. It was a bit financially tough, but alhamdulillah, we got through it. So my dad was the main one that always came, and my uncle. Akla parang my uncle that Raeez my 2-3 outfits. So my dad was always there for me. Alhamdulillah, may Allah grant him Jannah for that. So then he started school, and again at school, he was always one step ahead. The way my family was, the environment of, he got love, but he got discipline. So that played a major role in his life, and nobody treated him any differently.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Ahmad Maker. I am Fayrooz's uncle from my mother's side. Raeez and Fayrooz used to stay by me. Gave them a place, and one day Fayrooz used to make pizza when she burned her hands. And she said to me, Puta, who is going to wash the child? And I said, I can wash him, because I used to amuse myself with him. I used to wash him. Then when he went to school at one time, I used to take him to the bus, but he wouldn't get in. I must go in with the bus with him. I was very fond of him. He was fun to me. I used to love doing things for him. There's times when he watches TV and I talked, and he would quiet me and tell me, "But shh, I'm watching TV." And I would just laugh. Now lots of people won't understand. I always used to tell them, these children is Allah's children. They are from Allah. When you have a child like that in your life, you must always remember, you will never lose. It's a gift from Allah. Allah doesn't give the child to anyone, only to certain people, which means that mother, she might be false with the mouth, she might be stubborn, but it's the inside of you, it's the heart that is clean. And that is important. When I went to Mecca, the first thing I said, I've got brothers and a lot of sisters, nephews and nieces. I cannot buy the grandchildren. The only child I used to buy was for Raeez. You know, he's a special child. If I must bring everybody, then I'll have nothing to eat in Makkah. You know, they always even make a joke. But I love children.
Ons het nooit vir hom gesê, jy kan nie tyd doen nie, want jy's down. None of that, including myself. Like Anika and Kashwa and Noor, hy was dieselfde getreed. So at Palpoto, he did very, very well. Alhamdulillah, he exceeded at Palpoto. Wherever he went, he was a people's person already. Hy was soos my pa, because hy het by saam met my pa in die ronde gegaan. And everybody knew him. And then obviously, when he started bietjie groter, toe kry Kashval hom in met die klopse.
But I would play with him the whole day. I found him so amusing. He was fun to me. When they left him, my place, Fayrooz, I actually missed him. But I can't say anything. He's a good child. When his nephew got married, which they call, what's his name? Partner's son? Safwan got married. Raeez would make dua. Will you understand it or not? But he was serious about making dua. And everybody would look at him. They don't understand him, but look at him. Nobody laughed. They all looked at him. You know, that is what I mean. He's a gift of Allah. You can't go wrong with him.
أمين قالوا كونوا الله يخاتك يا خاتناكم ما ترى الإفقاد
I haven't got much to say because my speech might just get going, you know. I talk too much. I had a stroke, mouth stroke, and now I've got Parkinson's. And sometimes my speech goes away and I cannot talk. That's the only thing. Alhamdulillah.
My mommy went to a Hajj last year to my Oma. My Oma also went to Umrah last year with my sister. And first time he was there. And I slept to my mommy and him, and I put her pencils and platters, everything to my mommy's family, with all my aunties and all my uncles. They went to I do. I was there also first time. And ik ga uit mijn mommy, his name is Fayrooz. It is M.O. His name is Fayrooz. My mom's name, Fayrooz. And my uncle Wani, he also went to Hajj in the last month, on 46 years. And
he used to love watching other children imitate him, but also his love for Lion King. Ja, Allah, hy kan uit die skool uit. Dan moet ek Lion King aansit en hy will sit in the lounge and watch Lion King over and over and over again until supper time or it's bedtime, and his bed routine was 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock at night was his bedtime. Dan moet hy gaan slaap. Ek kan nie sê hy was 'n stoute baby nie, because he was in such a good routine. I think due to being in and out of hospital also, that played a big role, because he had a lekker routine. And we 7 o'clock, jy sit hom net neer en dan gaan hy slaap.